you. Good morning, and I'll call the meeting of the Audit Committee to order. It's probably the last meeting of this Audit Committee to take place. And we're dealing with the financial statements for the last fiscal year. As chair, I will continue to be in your hands, try to keep us following the agenda, and hope we have a full discussion. I'd like to call the roll, please. District 1.
Bruce Prout.
District 2.
McDonald.
District 3. District 4.
McNeil.
District 5. District 6, Alec Morrison. District 7.
Timothy Habinski.
District 8.
8, Michael Dunn.
District 9.
Wendy Sheridan.
District 10.
Deputy Warden Robert Center regrets for this meeting.
Thank you. District 11.
Diane LeBlanc.
Thank you. I'd like
Citizen
a motion,
member.
please.
Your citizen member, Mr.
Oh, Doug, yes.
Yeah,
Doug, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we just don't
Morning,
see
Doug.
you.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the camera today, but its video's fine. I can see everybody else.
All right, thank you very much. I'd now like a motion to approve the agenda, please. Moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Hemming. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary? Motion is carried. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of August 5th, 2020, please.
So moved.
Warden Habinski moved, seconded by
Yeah.
Councillor Hemming. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion is carried. I'd now like to begin by asking Harold Duffett to deliver a presentation, please. Harold.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to you all.
Morning.
The financial statements that were issued, they're in draft form until they're approved by yourself. This year's package is 6 pages. The index is the same as we've presented in the past. Pages 1 to 6 are the consolidated statements. Consolidated notes are pages 7 to 29. The individual funds controlled by the county are reported on page 30 to 64. And then for completing the package is the capital funding program for the county and the former town of Bridgetown, pages 65 and 66. I'd like to turn to the audit report on page 2. The opinion that we are providing this year is without reservation, and we are stating that in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements of the municipality are prepared in all material respects in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. The date of the audit report will be today, October 15th. Page 3 is the consolidated statement of financial activity. They're broken down by function. Obviously, the main source of revenue for the county is taxation. And we're pretty close to budget, pretty close to where we were in 2019. the payments in lieu of taxes, sales of services, other revenue from own sources. And then we have the transfers in with the control of the provincial government.
Harold, one moment, please. Is someone running a piece of machinery? You hear
Not
that
at my
hum?
end. No.
Okay, please carry on. Thank you.
Okay. Then we have other transfers, water rates, and interest income. So the total consolidated revenue for the county of Annapolis was $22.678 million. The offsetting expenditures for the county, again, broken down by function. General government services, 3.8 million. Protective services, fire and police, EMO, 4.3 million. Transportation, that's roads and streets, 1.5 million. Environmental health, 3.4 million. Public health, 116,000. Environmental development, 417,000. Recreational and cultural services was 1.6 million. The mandatory education transfer to the Department of Education is 3.7 million. Then we have the water expenditures, distribution and treatment, 624,000. And then we have a category called amortization, which is depreciation. For us that are the older people, it used to be called depreciation, 1.5 million. Total expenditures, $21.4 million. We are reporting for March 31st, 2020, a surplus of $1.244 million. In addition, we have a $250,000 land contribution that was given to the county. So our surplus now is $1.49 million. Page 4 is the consolidated balance sheet. This balance sheet has all the funds of the town except the trust funds. The trust funds, which is over $1 million administered by the county, are not included in your consolidated financial statements. All right, they are not, because the reasoning is that they're not technically assets of the county. Okay, they're held in trust. You are the trustees. On page 4, our cash balances, all the funds, 9.4 million. We do have through the tax sale process funds that are held technically in trust, $560,000. There are conditions that that have to be met. Generally speaking, what I see is a lot of that money will be paid back to the previous landowner. Accounts receivable, that's $2 million. And I want to turn to note 3 to explain what makes up your accounts receivable. That's on page 11.
The paper copy doesn't match up with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my draft. But it's note number 3, Bert. Do you have it? So the first part,
The page numbers are on the top, and they're the same page numbers that Harold will be referencing. I didn't add any other page numbering on it because that usually ends up confusing us. So it's Harold's page 11 in that statement.
does everybody have found that?
We have the
that.
right page.
Okay. All right, good. So accounts receivable, and I want to break that down. It's $2 million. It's a big bulk of money. So you can see the first section is your reconciliation of your taxes. Obviously, your tax revenue is 15 million of your 22 million of revenue this year. And the taxes outstanding at March 31st was $780,000. That's down from 2019, which was $814,000. The next category of receivables is your sewer, water. Now you got to remember that there are 4 water locations, right? 4 customer bases. Payments in lieu of taxes due from the federal government, $361,000. Majority of that money is HST that's coming back to the county. Due from the province and its agencies, $273,000. The Bridgetown Lawn Bowling, $3,700. The YMCA Lewenberg, that's dealing with the Basin View complex, $74,000. And then we have a category other, $104,000. That includes ARC, was $30,000. The town of Middleton, $26,000, and developers, etc. So that's the category. So that's $2 million. We have other receivables of 1.2 million. That's laid out on note number 4, which is on page 12. 368,000 is receivable from the Annapolis County Housing Authority. And then we have the construction deposit with the EA Farron Limited, 868,000. That's 1.2 million in total. Temporary borings, bank indebtedness. I'm now back on page 4. So I'm back on page 4. The temporary borrowing was 1.9 million. Some of that subsequent to year end was monies were taken from the reserve funds to pay down some of that debt. Temporary borrowings, 1,856,000. Now that category is dealing with your capital programs. And if I turn to note 15, you have 2 approved borrowing, temporary borrowing privileges approved by the province. One is, of course, the 13 million program for your internet project. And then there's some monies that have been approved for the Gordonston project. So that's total 1.8 million. Accounts payable, 1.1 million. Deferred revenue, 3.3 million. The majority of that is your gas tax revenue. Under our reporting model, though you receive the monies from the federal government through the gas tax program, that money has to be spent on approved projects. So technically you haven't earned that money until such time those projects have been approved. Tax sale surplus, that's a liability, 564,000. And our long-term debt, $3.36 million. Those are all debentures held with the Municipal Finance Corporation, and all your long-term debt and all your short-term debt has been approved by the Minister's office. Very important metric with municipal units is your net asset position. This year it's $946,000 compared to 1.3 million last year. Tangible capital assets are 37 million. We add our non-financial assets with our financial assets. We have an accumulated surplus of over 38.8 million. Page 5 is the reconciliation of your annual surplus to the net asset position of the county. The main items that reconcile that number is really dealing with your tangible assets and prepaids. And as I reported, your net assets at the end of the year are $946,000. Page 6 is your statement of cash flows. So what this statement does is reconciles your cash from the beginning of the year with, you know, the resources the county has to generate cash, less your expenditures, and to your cash position at the end of the year. And just to point out some numbers, the total capital projects, excuse me, the total capital program for the county was $3,254,000. Your long-term borrowing debentures were $425,000. You repaid $287,000 back in long-term debt. So the cash resources increased with the county by $751,000. So your cash resources at the end of March 31st, 2020 is $9.4 million. So as I indicated, the notes to your statements, and basically that from page 7 to 29, they form an integral part of your financial package under the consolidated statements. I'm not going to go by page, but there's a lot of detail, and that's what these statements are meant, is to provide detail. The other pages from 29 back are those are your income statement and your balance sheets for the individual funds. They are, of course, your general fund, water fund, and the reserve funds. I want to turn now to the audit. This is from the auditor to the audit committee, and this is what I have gone through, of course, is the numbers that form the basis of your consolidated statements, but this is other information that is to assist you in approving the financial statements. And that's
excuse me, Harold, is that the document audit committee report?
Yes, 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 it is.
It's near the end of the package, folks. October 28th, audit committee report. Okay, thanks, Harold. Go ahead.
All right, so on page 2, I just wanted to identify highlights of our audit. Significant matters arising. There were no changes to our audit plan that we previously presented to you earlier. Other matters, we have not identified any significant matters that we wish to bring to your attention. Significant difficulties encountered. We encountered no significant difficulties during our audit. New accounting policies. There are no new accounting policies that were adopted by the county. There are a couple of new accounting policies going through the public sector board now that may or may not affect the county in future years. Significant accounting estimates. Obviously, The financial statements do have estimates, and one estimate, of course, deals with the collectability of your, for example, receivables. Dealing with, dealing with, for example, the measurement of the livelihood of your tangible assets. How long do which, they may or may not meet the expectations. For example, sewage treatment plant is supposed to last 50 years, but we know that that's just an estimate. It may last 20 years, it may last 40 years. We just don't know. Significant financial disclosures. In our view, we have disclosed all material areas that, for your financial statements, subsequent events, your commitments, very important part of your package. The deficiencies in internal control, we did issue a management letter, and it contains the same comment as we've had past years, is that under provincial accounting practices, the county is to not have funds borrowed between funds. In other words, your due to, due froms, or inter-fund accounts are to be paid out. We do have, for example, with the Annapolis Water Utility, where the county is, as we've talked about in the past, subsidizing financially that utility. So, however, we didn't find any other internal control matters that should be brought to your attention. Disagreements with management. We are required to communicate if there are any disagreements, and we are pleased to say that no, there were no disagreements with management. We are not aware that if the county had consulted with other accountants, the so-called second opinion area, that's sometimes becomes important. And we are not aware of any illegal acts and related party transactions that should be brought to your attention. And that's, I think that's my 15 minutes, Mr. Chair. If there's anything else that.
Alex, just if I can just interject for a second, Wayne Fowler just called. He's going to try to log in. If not, he's going to call back. So I just want to let you know.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Harold. And I wonder if you might conclude with any statement you might wish to make about the financial management of the county's resources.
Well, it's clear that the county is still financially healthy. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the balance sheet's still very strong. The you're on budget with other units across the province. Now, I'm not sure what indicators the province has for the county. My recollection is that I think there was one red, but I think everybody has a red red mark with the province. But the county is still fiscally very, very strong. I don't think there's any worries there. One measure, there's different metrics with municipal units that we, advisors look at, and one is your residential and your commercial tax base. Annapolis County does not have a strong commercial base in relation to your residential, right? I mean, obviously, the ideal split is 60-40, believe it or not, okay? The county's not there. So is that a bad thing? Well, I can name you other counties that are in the same position, right? But so these measurements, you have to be taken into perspective as to exactly what are you measuring. But overall, I don't see anything that jumps out that says wait a minute now, this is not correct. But
That's great. Thank you very much. Now, folks, in order that we could proceed, if we wish, to detailed examination of the figures, I would welcome a motion that Municipal Council approve the MCOA financial statements to March 31st, 2020, as prepared by Kent and Duffett, and to authorize the warden and CAO to sign the document for submission to the minister. Sorry, John.
Yeah, sorry, there's a couple of matters in the financial statements that relate to litigation. And I have to, there's one note that there's a line that has to come out, and but I have to describe it in camera, and then we
All right.
have to come out again.
Thank you. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? The warden that moves, seconded by Councillor Hemming. And now, thank you. If you wish, we can move to, I would imagine, page 6 of the statements and go through them page by page, if that is your wish. Carolyn, you're on mute.
I just had a question on a page that Harold had already covered. On page 12, it was note number 4 about other receivables. It says Annapolis County Housing Corporation. Is it actually the Housing Authority?
Could we hold on to that till we get to that page?
Sure.
So is it your wish that we will go page by page?
Yes.
Councillor Hemming.
Can't hear you, Gregory.
Can't hear, cannot hear. Any other discussion? Do I take
Call
it?
my phone, Gregory, and I'll put you on speakerphone.
So do I take it that we do not proceed page by page?
No, I'd like to go over this.
All right.
Thank you very much. I don't know about the rest of the council, but
Good.
Yes, I'll go with that.
Thank you. So we'll begin at page 6.
Okay.
Page 7.
Hold on, Alex.
Okay. Are you still on page 6?
Get there. Okay.
Sorry, I made a mistake here. We should start on page 3. Where the
Yeah,
heading is consolidated statements and revenues and expenses, page 3. Numbers are on the,
well, I have a question.
okay, Councillor Gunn.
Thank you very much. Harold, at the very bottom of that says accumulated surplus at the end of the year is 38 million some odd dollars. So this is an ongoing tally. This is like what our assets, I'm trying to understand this, what our assets are becoming as we add to our assets. That's where that tally keeps going. Am
Yes.
I kind of getting that right?
that's that is a residual number, and it's simply take all your assets, subtract all your liabilities, equals your surplus, $38 million.
I see. So yeah, our surplus from the year, what we added to it is added to from last
Yeah.
year. Thank
So
you.
this year's addition was $1.494 million. Yes.
So we should be looking to do that every year. Is that it?
that's a difficult question to answer because there's a lot of ifs. The reason your surplus is growing is because of your capital program is increasing, right? It's in the last couple of years where the county has, you've got a lot of projects on the go. So that number is going to increase. If you, the grants and the government money that is now starting to flow, the gas tax, that increases your surplus, right? So, but should the surplus grow every year? Well, that falls into the same debate as with the provincial governments and the federal governments. Do you run a budget that is, deficit or, large surplus, right? If you have a large surplus, that number is going to increase. If you have deficit financing or deficit budgets, that number is going to drop. It's a tough question to answer. Generally speaking, what we're seeing with some of the units is that the surplus is actually dropping.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harold.
Further questions on page 3?
Gregory just called in. I've got him on speakerphone. Do you have a question, Gregory?
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm getting tremendous feedback here.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I go back to testing my microphone? I don't know why.
You go ahead. Go ahead and test it.
Let me try this.
So he will have to unmute. I muted him because that was giving the feedback. Oh, there he goes.
Okay,
Try it again. No, I can hear you through the phone, but not through the computer. They can hear you now, though, Gregory. I've got you on speak. If you speak, they can hear you.
Cannot hear.
Can't hear you, Gregory. You're not speaking loud enough.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And my apologies to the chairman. My question now may be out of sequence. With the terrestrial entertaining question, that's a little old now.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, speak into the phone because as soon as you move away, you can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I can't get any closer here.
Okay.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this was a follow-up what Harold was talking about in terms of revenue, and I noted that there's about 9 municipalities that are red flagged to the extreme in some sense. And what I noticed is that in all those municipalities, when they had discussions on remedies for that, they all talked about cutting services. No one that I know of talked about the potential to increase revenues. So my question to Harold is, and I may have asked this Harold last year, but what are the barriers to increasing revenue, especially in the commercial sector, when it comes to municipalities?
Did you get the question, Harold?
Vaguely, Alec. I'm not. Could you?
What I think Councillor Hemming asked was, what are the barriers to increasing commercial establishments?
Revenues. Can the municipality, are there barriers to the municipality in creating revenues?
Yes. You can't get revenues unless you have establishments, but that's the general tenor of the question. Harold?
Well, that's true. I mean, your tax base is what is important. And then from that is your mill rate. So you take your tax base times your mill rate, and that gives you your tax revenue. The barriers, as I mentioned, I mean, certainly the commercial base carry a larger burden of the tax compared to the residential. But if your tax base is increasing, then that's a good thing, right? As I recall, your tax base has been rather stagnant for the last few years, and you've got basically inflationary gains. However, there are, as Gregory indicated, there are at least 10 units that they have multiple red flags because they're in a challenging situation financially.
Thank you. Is that okay, Councillor Hemming?
Yes, but just a quick follow-up. I understand that, and I think our municipality really understood the lack of revenue, and that's one of the reasons why we, in my opinion, took some financial risk to do projects like Gordonston and other projects to try and increase that. And I'm just curious on why other municipalities don't leap into that revenue stream. There's always a reluctance to do that, and they always go to if we're in trouble, we have to cut services. And I know there's psychological reasons for that and some administrative. I just wanted, in your opinion, Harold, as a certified accountant and a Nova Scotian, is there something else that we're missing in terms of this reluctance?
Excuse me, I would be hesitant for us to begin an examination of the financial conditions of other municipalities. And I would much rather that we concentrate on our own and our financial.
That's what I was doing.
Thank you.
Who's running the late?
Well, are we finished now with page 3?
I'm not sure. Did Alec, did Gregory had another question?
My understanding was he was asking a question about what other municipalities could or could not do and why or why not they're doing it. And I don't think that's a question for us to be discussing.
Not germane.
Yeah, every council are going to have either progressive programs or retraction programs. I mean, councils, as you know, are there's other opportunities. I think you'll find that most of rural Nova Scotia is now have signed on into the rural internet program. I mean, your county was the leader. Now we've got everybody else following. So that's very impressive. But we know that for the most part, rural Nova Scotia is we need people. We need in my mind, we need immigration, and whatever whatever councils can do to increase our population base, we all win.
Thank you. We'll carry on now. Are there further comments on page 3? All right, we'll move to page 4.
Right here. Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Gunn. Yes.
Thank you. It's on page 4 in the middle part there. Net assets. Can you explain what that actually means? And I noticed that we're down like 400,000. on net assets in a year. Is that another accumulative thing?
Yes, that's another metric that is that measures your financial condition. In many businesses, that would be considered to be working capital.
Yes.
So if your current asset less your current liabilities is equal to your working capital, it's a measuring stick is, are you able to pay your obligations as they come due? I can tell you without that half the municipal units are in a net deficit position. Your county is in a net asset position. So you have a positive situation. But yes, it is a measuring stick. Down a little bit from the previous year. I don't see anything that would concern me with that number, Michael.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Other questions or comments on page 4? And I'll ask you if you have them, as well as speaking out, wave your hand. I find my eyes are going left, right, up and down. Okay, page 5. Page 6.
Oh,
Page 7. We are now in the notes. Do we wish to go through the notes page by page? John?
Yeah, there's one note that has to have a line taken out, and I have
Where-
to discuss it in camera.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, do you wish to go through the notes page by page?
nice.
Not receiving any affirmative answer.
Alec, it wouldn't be a bad idea just to go through a page. I mean, each one of these pages that I have coming up here in the next while, I'll have little comments on.
All right, then, page 7. Councillor Gunn.
Not page 7.
All right. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. So the Nova Scotia Housing, this is what it's contributions to boards, authorities, and other entities.
Yeah.
So we're giving, didn't I see somewhere where we paid, we're paid them a bunch of money here on that 116,000. And then didn't I see somewhere where they owe us money back? Yes, if I go back here further, I'll find that. It was in the long-term debt. So is this money that will not necessarily come back to the county? Where the devil is that?
No, there's two separate numbers, Michael. One, this number, this is your operating deficit. This is your share. Annapolis Royal Middleton share in that deficit as well. So this is your operating deficit, 116,000. So that's your share that for the operation. The receivable, the mortgage receivable that the county provided to the authority, that's for cap. That was the construction. That's the capital. So two separate numbers.
Oh,
yeah. And
just trying to figure that out. Thank you.
Yeah, we wouldn't net the two off. No. They are paying the county back for their portion. This is the operating deficit. This is very controversial, by the way, with units across the province. There's a lot of surprises because, as you know, these long-term care homes are under scrutiny by the public. and there's going to be a lot of capital programs spent. It's huge. And guess who's going to pick up the tab? You.
Yeah.
Thank you. Holly, did you have
Thank
something?
you.
No, Harold answered that. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anything else on page 10? Page 11. Page 12. Carolyn, you're muted.
Sorry about that. On note number 4 at the top of page 12,
Yes,
it says Annapolis County Housing Corporation, and Harold said Annapolis County Housing Authority. It's Housing Authority?
It is now, but back then it was a corporation. So the debt instrument is with I believe, the Housing Corporation.
This is Mountain Lodge and ARC, Carolyn.
So this is the Annapolis County Municipal Housing Corporation?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It should say Municipal Housing Corporation.
All right,
thank you.
put that in, Holly.
Anything else on page 12?
Well, I wanted to go back to 11, sorry. You got a
All
little-
right.
Back
Councilor
to
Gunn.
11, and then on the bottom of that, the YMC, Lunenburg and other. This money, this is all money forthcoming? Or is this money we're kind of in accounts receivable that's not going to be necessarily forthcoming?
I'm sorry, Councilor Gunn, your last sentence.
Oh, is this money that it will be coming in, this bottom 2 million, or is this money that we hope some of it will come in? Or is this actual?
Well, in a nutshell, we expect 100. Yes, we expect it all. However, as you know, the YMCA has had some financial issues. I'm not. I can't speak that if we've got that money, but I know that with other ARC and Town of Middleton, the county was paid. But I know you got your HST money back. Water rate, generally speaking, you collect 99%, Michael, of that money. And sewer charges, you probably collect 99% of that as well. But we try to set up a valuation allowance if it's not collected. But it's an estimate. But correct me if I'm wrong, Holly, I would say you collected 90+% of that 2 million already.
Yeah. The YMCA, that was just some utility amounts that were for their oil and electricity and all that stuff. That's what was owing at year end. They've since paid that. That's what was March 31st. But come April, they paid it. They're just a little behind each time because we have to wait for the bills to come in. We send them off to them. And by the time we get it, it could be a month later or whatever. But it will get collected, yes.
So
Thank you.
that 74,000, as Michael is saying, from the YMCA has been collected, and it was for paying of oil and electricity on the
Exactly.
premises. Thank you for that clarification.
And I have one more little follow-up there. The lawn bowling, didn't we just grant them money, and we granted them money last year, but yet apparently they owe us $3,700. How's that?
Nancy, can you answer that one?
This was back in Bridgetown days. They had to do, I believe they built their building, and so they got a loan from the town for that, and they are repaying it off $1,000 a year. That was the agreement. So they've only got about 4 years left to repay that loan. So that's what this $3,700 is for.
Great, thank you. Thanks for the
Thank you.
explanation. Thank you.
Page 12. Yes, Councilor Gunn.
Thank you. The EA fare and deposit. That was for work in last year. So is that the price of the property There, is that what we paid for the property in that $800,000? Or what is that $800,000?
Well, that's the construction deposit for the most part. I know 600,000 of that is for sure. But the your land purchase, and I think you're referring the society. I can't remember the exact name, but that purchase occurred, Michael, on April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not included in these statements. But I do have a note. Note number 17.
I don't know what page.
Page 28. The Upper Clements Park Society. I knew it was could remember. So there was two transactions for the land, Michael.
Excuse me, Harold, CAO?
Yeah, I'll let Harold finish answering this question, but I have to reiterate, you have to go into camera.
Thank you.
Okay, there were two transactions for the purchase of the land with Upper Clement. One was a cash payment of 600,000 and debt forgiveness. Apparently there was an old mortgage that the county had on that property in the amount of 300,000. So that was forgiven.
Thank you.
But that occurred after March 31st, Michael.
Yeah, well, I always thought the agreement was that we would get that 300,000 back. That's what I was a little bit shocked in that, and right from the follow-up. Was it that would be forthcoming?
It is in the agreements. It is in the agreements to get that back.
Yeah, we did this.
Starting in year 5.
In year 5, yeah.
Anything else on page 12?
Me, right here.
Yes, sorry, Councilor
Diane. On page 12 and 13, when we're looking at long-term debt, from what I can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 particular items in year 2021, 2022 that will be finished paying off. Am I correct with that? So that would be added less expenses to our budget. Is that how I see that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, the repayment schedule is $535,000 principal. So if you have lower principal payments, you'll have lower interest costs. But your budget is pretty consistent. If you look at for the next 5 years, it's between 500 and 600,000 your debt repayment. So that.
Thank you. Is that okay, Councilor LeBlanc?
Well, yes, but and Holly answered that we would be in the next 2 years, by 2022, we'll have a good portion of these gone. Good. Oh, Nancy has a question.
But Diane, I should also point out that you're going to be adding to your long-term debt because of your capital program, right?
Yes. Yes.
You've got 2 major projects on the go: your internet project and the school project, and those are going to be funded through long-term debt.
Yes.
And grants, of course, that be coming in. But so your debt repayment schedule most likely will increase.
Most definitely will increase. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And Nancy has something to say, but Nancy, you.
I was just going to say that on some of those loans, for example, if you look at the first one, the Municipal Finance Corporation debenture for 2020, the balance is 350,000.
Yeah.
In the note, it says the annual repayment is 500. So in 2 years, and it says it's maturing in 2022, it'll only have paid off $203,000. So a few of these loans, they mature in 21, 22, but they will be the loans will be
Finance.
refinanced.
Financed. Okay, that's great. Okay.
Thank you. Anything else on page 12?
Mr. Chair, this is Bert.
Hi,
Am
Bert.
I in the meeting?
Yes, you
Okay.
are.
Thank you. My computer kicked me out.
Okay. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Seventeen.
I have one
Yeah.
for 17.
Councillor LeBlanc, followed by Councillor Gunn, page 17.
I just didn't know under general government services, we have the municipal building, the Bridgetown Elementary School, and land. What is land?
Thank you.
Is that the land by the school? Nancy?
That's, I'd have to go back to the records, Diane, but my gut's telling me that it's something to do with the town hall.
Oh, Nancy had
And
something.
it's various parking lots that the town owns throughout
Oh,
town.
okay. All right.
Excuse me, that who owns?
The
Sorry,
county.
Bridgetown, the community of Bridgetown, the county.
you.
Sorry about that.
Councillor Gunn, you were on page 17.
Thank you. I was on page 17, and I was a little distraught because it was so vague. It's so vague what these expenditures are listed at in some places. Like one of my points was the land, and I see land improvement. And then I go to the next page and I see pumping equipment at $680,000. So is this normal? And it's like, it's vague. It's vague in
But
my
Michael,
mind.
your finance people can provide you spreadsheets. The spreadsheets have by year, the acquisitions and the disposals. This is just a summary, right?
So
You
I
gotta appreciate that this is just a summary, but your finance staff, they've got spreadsheets with all kinds of data if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is just a summary.
This is just a summary. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, this is an audit.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
18.
your finance department does a great job in tracking the capital programs. If on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 11 in the difficulty of accounting. Your staff do a great job with the capital programs. It is a nightmare. Just appreciate just how much activity there is with capital.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Page 18. Page 19.
What,
Councillor LeBlanc, page 19.
under general government services, it's just a question of what is McLean and other property and other. I just don't know I just don't remember that particular bit. Holly, you seem to know the answer.
Yeah, at the municipal building in an app
Yeah.
along the highway for the town of Annapolis Royal, there's a vacant lot there. And we purchased that many years ago. And that's what that is, that vacant lot of grassy land, like
Bill McLean.
Yeah,
Oh, the piece of
Okay,
property.
Hold on.
pass is.
Hold on, please. Hold on. Holly, you have the floor.
So it is the piece of property that's parkland in front of the municipal building in Annapolis Royal.
So as you drive in, it's the land on the left before we get to the parking lot?
Yes. There used to be a house there, and it was the McLean house.
Oh, okay.
We purchased that property.
I'll know that forever now.
Thank you. Thanks, Holly. Page
You're welcome.
20. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23.
I got to congratulate you.
Councillor Gunn, you have the floor.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'll let it slide by. Thank you.
Page 24. Page 25. Page 26. Councillor Sheridan.
26, number 16, the contingencies with Valley Waste. Just wondering, is that for this just 1 year, or is that for 2 years in the past, or have we fixed up with them at all in that regard with the debentures?
At March 31st, 2020, everything was still as it was, Wendy, with the Valley Waste. The guarantees that the county signed on behalf of Valley Waste, they aren't going to go away, right there. So if Valley Waste folded, that's the amount of money you would have the county guaranteed. We have confirmed that with the Municipal Finance Corporation, and everything else that we haven't paid any more money. There's no monies paid to Valley Waste last year, right? I mean, you're not associated with them anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on page 26?
Like a question.
Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. Just a question answered here. So when we call it credit facility on line 15 there, or number 15. So last year it's saying that we were overdrawn. Now this is in the bank, right? The Royal Bank of Canada. We were overdrawn $1.5 million, $1,583,000. So is that like to make up for the money shortfall that wasn't collected yet, or what? Why would we be $1.5 million overdrawn?
$1 million was transferred from the reserves. Council approved.
Okay, yeah.
Right, to move the money out of it. Was budgeted, just didn't happen. I take it cold. It was probably the reason, but after March 31st, 2020, over $1 million was transferred out of your reserves back into your operating fund, which was planned.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to page 27, please. CAO.
You have to go in camera on this.
Is this something we would do now or later?
Yes, yes.
Do now.
I'll make a motion to go in camera under the MGA section 22(2)E contracts.
And it's related to litigation.
And
Moved by the warden, seconded by Councilor Fowler. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Thank you. Back in, please.
You're rolling.
Thank you very much. Page 29. Page 30. Page 31. Page 32. Page 33. And do I hear 34? And the one after that. Page 36.
I had a question there.
Okay, Bert, go ahead.
Legal services. Is that just this year or is that on general government services? Where it says legal services?
Holly?
Sorry. Yes, that's just this year, and that's solicitor.
Which
Our
solicitor?
solicitor? Or all of them?
Our solicitor.
Okay. How about the others? How come there's nothing? I don't see anything here on them.
That's what we're looking for.
A lot of those are part of capital projects.
So where do they get differentiated?
Yeah, but I guess the question is, this is only our solicitor. What about the other two?
And Holly indicated that those costs are in the costing for the capital project. Is that right, Holly?
Right.
And Councillor Gunn asked, where do we get to the capital projects? That's later on.
We haven't got there yet, have we?
No.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
37. Page 38.
Right here.
Councillor Gunn, page 38.
Thank you. Could somebody explain to me what environmental development services is in the county of Napa? Environmental planning, zoning, and other environmental development services that we spend, $300,000, $400,000 on. So what is that?
That's your planning office.
That's the planning office?
Right.
And they don't call it the
And-
planning office? Or is it just another part of their function?
It's planning and building inspection.
Right.
It's generally called environmental development services for all municipalities. This is a general format for the financial statements to record it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Warden?
Planning services, Michael, that was the old school. We used to call that planning services back in the 80s.
Now it's development service.
Hold on. Warden?
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that in the line directly beneath the subject title, Environmental Development Services, you do see the line that states environmental planning and zoning. So it is explained right there in the passage.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for pointing
Anything
that out.
else on page 38? We'll go to 39, please. Followed by 40. Somebody is trying to get in. All right.
Keep hearing feedback from the phone caller. That's the phone call is Bert, and that's where the
thank you.
feedback comes from.
41. $42. 43. Warden, please.
Pardon me, could we go back to 41 just for a moment?
Yes.
I just noticed that in expenditures transferred to the village of Lawrencetown, we see a significant increase from the previous year. It was 20,000 in 2019, and then it goes to 55,000. I'm just curious about the discrepancy.
Harold, would you know anything about that, or Holly?
That's the amount that was transferred, Alec. I'm not, I mean, I'd have to pull the file to see if there's I'm pretty sure it was budgeted.
Nancy?
It was for capital projects. We manage the gas tax for the village of Lordstown. And so they had two capital projects using gas tax funds, and that's what that $55,000 was for.
Thank you for clarifying that, Nancy.
Okay.
So we're now on page 43. $44. 45. 46. 47. 48. 49. 50. 51. 52. 52. Harold, did you have your hand up or you just waved?
No, just.
Thank you. 52. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. And 59. And 60. And 61. 62. 63. 64. And 65. And 66.
Oh, wait a second here.
Okay. Councillor Gunn?
Oh, I was just looking for something in here. We should. Sorry. I might have spoke a little too early. Give it to her, Alec.
Pardon me?
Give it to her. I'm
All right.
lost her.
All right. And so we have a motion that has been moved and seconded. So we can proceed with the vote.
Can I just
What
ask a
about,
question?
Councillor Sheridan, please.
So do we not just make recommendations
Yeah, you make a
today
rec-
and
Yes.
we
You
don't
make a
make motions and
but you're also amending this motion too?
No, it's a motion to recommend, Councillor Sheridan.
Right.
a motion to recommend to,
Yes.
okay. That's, I didn't hear it correctly. Thank you.
CAO.
As amended.
Could we have the motion again? Mr. Chair,
It was moved by Carolyn
Warden Habinski,
and seconded by
Counselor Hemming.
to recommend that municipal council approve the MCOA financial statements to March 31st, 2020, as prepared by Kent and Duffett and as amended, and to authorize the warden and CAO to sign the document for submission to the minister.
adding as amended.
I said that.
Okay. Didn't hear you. Thank you.
Was there
Thank
a
you.
motion to amend that? I didn't catch it, sorry. Is there a motion to amend the motion
It wasn't, no, it wasn't passed.
to add as amended?
Okay, if we need an amendment, is there anyone wishing to amend the original wording of the motion? Warden,
I move to amend the document before us to include the appropriate name for the Municipal Housing Corporation and as discussed in camp.
thank you. Second? Councillor Hemming? Discussion on the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Counterminded, nay. The amendment is carried. On the main motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. They mentioned here earlier, we talked about the legal, Councillor McNeil brought it up. And we asked about where the differentiation is on legal fees. And somebody said, oh, we're going to come up with it, up to that at the last of the audit. It's in, I forget, but that's what I was trying to look for there. I see no other mentions anywhere in this audit on legal fees.
Nancy
I
has,
see it in one spot and that's it. But I don't see it differentiated. So we would never know how much we were paying Bruce Gillis and Rod Gillis and other New Brunswick legal firms. We don't have a clue what we're paying. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
I was just going to say that on page 15 of the tangible capital assets, any legal costs that were included are included in those numbers there. They do not differentiate what part of that cost is legal, but that's where they would be found. So there'd be construction costs in the numbers under
So,
addition, as well as legal.
yeah. Well, that's my question is how will we ever know what our legal fees are, what we're paying lawyers? How will we ever measure the effectiveness of them if we don't know what they are?
We can measure the effectiveness of as it relates to the defenses that they're dealing with. And their actions in the expense that we're paying lawyers is to save the county from millions. And our lawyers are doing a terrific job. And we do know what the numbers are. And we do know where we've had to mainly pay for legal fees. We've had,
Why don't we get to know that?
we've had people in the community self-admit that they FOIPOP'd the county. We believe that there is a concerted effort to try to have our legal counsel removed, who is protecting us from losing millions. And frankly, they're doing a tremendous job. And the lawyers have to stay in place. They're going to save us money. And that actions by everybody trying to seek what the legal fees are simply trying to make a case to have our legal counsel removed. That's the impression that we're getting from all the different stuff that we've dealt with. And we've actually already communicated to the provincial department of FOIPOP that we are not disclosing that and we're prepared to defend it.
right,
We, thank you. Thank you, Alec. I just follow quick. Who is we?
Yes, yes. Councillor Gunn?
Well,
Yes, John. Who is we?
The county,
The county.
yes.
I don't remember council ever voting on anything like that, John. Is that, you know,
But
never
council did vote on it.
we voted on not.
One moment, please. Please,
You-
please.
If I may interject,
CAO.
I think if you want to carry the discussion further, we'll have to take it in camera, Councillor Gunn, and I will explain in further detail. And council did approve the lawyers that we have working for us.
Yes, we did. We did at one time. But we also would just like to know what these lawyers are called. What kind of a legal rabbit hole are we getting into? And that's what council would like the answers to.
Just
One moment, please. Order, order. Number one, let us try to stick to factual statements. And number two, the CAO has laid out the course of action the audit committee might wish to take if it wishes to carry on this conversation further. Is there a desire?
yeah, definitely by me.
There, Bruce or Bert? I'm in there too. Yeah.
I would like to know. I've been trying to find out, so it'd be interesting to find out some more
All right,
information.
and the way we do this is by motion. Does anyone like to make a motion to go in camera? Councillor
McNeil will.
by Councillor
Mhm.
McNeil, seconded by Councillor Gunn. Is there discussion on the motion?
Under what section, please?
Contract negotiate. Well, I don't know if it would be contract negotiation. That would be up for you to tell us. If
You have a
the CAO wants to go in camera to discuss it, then he would have to tell us what part. Thank you.
litigation.
I'm sorry, let's get one thing straight. It is council deciding, it is audit committee deciding to go into camera. And only the audit committee can make that recommendation.
Correct.
Carolyn, do you have a recommendation as to MGA reference?
I don't have the sections right in front of me. I'm just
I
trying.
believe it's F.
Pardon me, Warden?
I believe it's F.
F. Okay.
What is that?
For litigation or potential litigation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? The motion is approved. Carolyn, please. So we have cast, have we, Carolyn, the motion? Yes, we have.
Yes.
Yes. Now I would like a motion that the audit committee recommend that municipal council authorize 2 members of the audit committee, being the chair and the warden, to sign the audit committee report. Do we have a mover for that recommendation?
I'll move it.
Councillor Fowler moves, Warden Hibinsky second. Do we have discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Very minded. Councillor Gunn, was that aye or nay?
That was an aye.
Thank you very much. Motion is passed. I would
Thank you, Harold.
now ask for a motion to recommend that municipal council authorize the warden and CAO to sign the audit representation letter dated October 28th, 2020. Do we have a mover?
I'll move it.
Councillor McNeil moves, and seconder.
I'll second.
Councillor Prout. Discussion on the motion. Councillor McDonald.
The motion said to have council approve. Council is not here. This is
No,
not committee.
Sorry, I thought I said The Audit Committee recommends that municipal council authorize.
Maybe I misunderstood. Thank you. That's totally different than what I just said.
Good point. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We now have before us the subject of the management letter that was in your package. And the auditor reviewed this letter. And I'd like a motion to receive that for information.
So moved.
Moved by the warden, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Carolyn, do we have further business?
No further business, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Warden.
Is Harold still here?
Yes, he
Hello?
is.
Hi, yes,
Harold, I wonder if I could ask you one final question just before we let you go this morning.
yes, go ahead.
Would you say on the basis of your review of our financial statements that they are indicative of a pattern of bad financial management or strong financial management?
Oh, there's no indication at all of poor financial management, Tim. I mean, your state, as I said, your balance sheet's strong. You got some, there's large projects, but the projects are being funded. So it shouldn't erode your tax base. I don't see anything that would be anywhere close to mismanagement.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it sounds like you're second guessing, decisions, which, look, every council that I work with, they always second guess. It's just our nature, right? I'm not going to lie, it's big projects, but think about this. Your sister municipal units out there, they're doing the same thing now, right? The rural internet program, everybody's spending money now in that area. So that should bring some comfort at that program, which is the county's largest program, I'm sure. It's going to be well received. I actually spent time with the engineers. They wanted a second set of eyes on the financial forecast, and I gave my input. I've been involved with electric utilities, water utilities. I know what costs, and I help them. And yes, it's a big project, but like I say, it's been funded, and that's if you did things without looking at the dollar side, yeah, that would be inappropriate. But the council does a great job in setting the budget. Your budget's been met. You set your capital projects. They're being funded. So that's the best you can do. But I talk too much. No, there's no financial mismanagement.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to conclude this meeting by thanking Harold for his considered and professional input.
Thank you.
And thanking my colleague on the Audit Committee. I've enjoyed being the chair for these past years. I enjoyed the cut and thrust of the debate. I enjoyed the determination of council to do exactly what it thinks is best for the citizens of this county. Bert, would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.